Negima around 2006, I discovered that a brand new Negima television series was going to be airing. And I originally thought this was going to be, a season 2 to the Studio Zebic produced show. But it turns out it was a reboot with a new animation studio with more focus on action and zany comedy. When I saw this show first time, my initial reaction was, whoa, this is a pretty good looking anime, but it's also trippy as hell. Well, I did buy the DVDs later after seeing the show online. And after putting it off for nearly 7 years, I finally got around to wrapping up this entire 26 episode TV show of Negima. What are my thoughts on the show overall? Negima, or sometimes it's called Negima Second Season, Negima Second Series, or because they added a question mark to the end this time, it could also be called Negima? Well, this show is a 2006 action comedy harem reboot anime based off of Ken Akamatsu's manga series. 10-year-old Negi Springfield passed the Wizardry Academy in Wales. He is given the task to attend Mahora Academy, an all-girls school, to be an English teacher. However, not long after establishing himself as a teacher in Mahora, a mysterious vampire who claims to know his father has been attacking his students. The vampire is actually later revealed to be one of Negi's own students, Evangeline, who was imprisoned to the school by his father for 15 years. A fate worse than death, I can assure you. Now that story arc, which is actually very close to volume 3 of the manga, as well as the first TV series, is only about 3 episodes long. And that's the only thing it really follows to the manga directly. The remaining 23 episodes, however, takes place about a year later when 2 magical entities that take the forms of a crudely drawn cat and frog appear. They claim to be from the Magic Academy, and they announce to Negi and the Dean, as well as Takahata, that a magical artifact called the Star Crystal was stolen, and apparently it's hidden somewhere in Japan. Because of this, black magical substances known as the Darkness crop up all over Mahora Academy, transferring Negi into an illusionary dimension, and even possessing some of his own students to attack him. Now Negi and his students that eventually become his magically powered partners must work together to keep the school and Class 3A safe, seal all the fairies in the illusionary world, and discover who is the Star Crystal's thief and why he or she is attacking everything close to Negi. Now the Star Crystal arc was not adapted from the manga at all. It's completely original for the reboot, and that's actually half of what the anime really is. The other half comes off as Pony Pony Dash, starring the cast of Negima. This show, even when it looks like it's not coming off as crazy and hectic, comes off as being crazy and hectic anyways, mostly due to the art style and the director behind it. In a good way. I'll explain the rest when I cover the art and animation. Now, I don't want to spend forever covering the characters of the show because there's actually more than 31 of them altogether, but if you read the original manga, most of them, when they got translated over to this anime, do stay the same, except for the female lead, Asuna. In the manga, Asuna was a ditzy tsundere. In this anime, she traded all her tsundere traits for attention deficit disorder, and she develops a weird obsession for chupacabras, even making merchandise for it. Now, I didn't mind the trade-off all that much because I hate most tsunderes, and I think her airheadedness does get a good few laughs out of me. Sadly, since there's less episodes of this anime than actual characters in the show, there's not really a huge amount of development for most of them, which will disappoint a few fans of the manga. Because some of the characters in the manga the characters in this show who are pretty minor, they get some really great development in the manga. However, the show does try hard to give all of the characters some shining moments, whether it's for the action or for being just plain old comedy, so it's really not all that bad. In fact, 2 characters, the Narataki twins, Fuka and Fumika, they actually got more main character screen time for this anime when compared to the manga from what I'm reading so far. And as for the main character, Negi's probably my favorite male protagonist in a harem anime, even though he's possibly the youngest too, because, he's a skilled magician who honestly does look down and care for his students, and he's just a badass magician, that's what he is. Now, as for the Class 3 of Mahora Academy, there are 31 students. Everyone who watches this show should have one favorite amongst the list. One. And they're pretty versatile in both design and personality. You have a robot, an evil vampire, a couple scientists, chefs, cheerleaders, bookworms, martial artists, a ninja, a marksman with big ass guns, a ghost, a journalist, a net idol, and a samurai girl. Take your pick. One last major change I want to cover is how Negi's Paxio works. For those who don't know, Negi gets magical partners through probationary contracts or Paxios, in which he has to kiss his partner in a magic circle, but in this anime, they don't do that, and they kind of throw that magical circle thing out the window. But anyways, when the contract's complete, the partner gets a magical artifact, which is either a weapon or something that can aid Negi in battle, and they get magical special abilities of sorts. And Negi gets a card of what his partner in the contract looks like. It's kind of like a Cardcaptor Sakura thing. That's what the cards remind me of, at least. Now, in this anime, they tweak it into a 3-card chance system, where he can get a rare card, the most powerful. I think it's sometimes called the armor card. A cosplay card, which is not as powerful, but it's still doable. It's still something you want. Or a dud card, which is the least desirable because it turns the partner into a useless animal chibi, which is cute, but useless. Now, the costume designs for the rare cards do look cool as hell, and they're probably more powerful than possibly in the manga, maybe. But if I had to choose, I would play it with the manga system safely, cause I suck at games of chance. And I'll definitely get more duds than rares. Man, I can't even get a good set of cards out of a Yu-Gi-Oh! Booster pack when I was 13. The art and animation was provided by Studio Shaft under the direction of Akiyuki Shimbo, who also directed Pani Pony Dash, and he would later direct Puella Magi Madoka Magica. This is the first anime I've ever seen in Shimbo's surreal, crazy, everything's going on at one time, sometimes it looks like a painting, art style. Seriously, other than looking really beautiful, weird stuff happens in each shot, like the anime has a weird case of ADHD. In a good way. There would even be random references to other stuff like Higurashi, Azumanga Daioh, South Park, Manamana, that song from Muppets, etc., etc. Asuna's twin tails would even move vividly based on her current emotions, or they would just spell something out in text. They would even use weird book-like cutouts for the characters in some shots, and they would even have post-credit skits like my favorite, the Baka Rangers or Mahora Sentai Dummy Force Squad, if you're watching that in English. Now that's for the comedy bits. Whenever there's a fight sequence going on or where things get a little more serious, all that tones down to improve on the movement quality, making the action scenes look really fantastic, even if some of the sequence would leave you wanting more. On another note, while the manga was pretty damn fanservicey to the point where it can be annoying for most readers, this reboot drastically tones down the fanservice. Yeah, you're gonna have a few moments, but it's not Ken Akamatsu-ish in style, which may be a good or bad thing depending on your perspective on ecchi fanservice. For me, it's a slight improvement because good luck trying to convince people in reading the manga with all that nudity, panty shots, and shit. I can at least convince a few people to check out this anime adaptation. Negima was dubbed by Funimation Entertainment. You know who the hell that is. I'm not going to go into detail what else they worked on. Greg Ayers voices the lead Negi Springfield, and I'm not going to lie, I like Greg. Love the stuff he does for ADV and Funimation. Met him at Louisianime. Great guy, fun guy. Attend his panels if he's ever at a nearby convention for you. I even got my DVDs autographed by him. But it took a while for me to get used to his voice of Negi. While his British accent doesn't sound too bad, you can hear the strain he puts on his voice when he plays a 10-year-old, which is weird because he usually voices younger male roles more naturally because of his higher pitched voice that he could do. But like I said, few episodes in, but I eventually got used to it, and sometimes when he delivers his lines, it does feel a little more natural. Now the rest of the dub is mixed for me. You got some good and some I really can't picture in that voice when I read the manga. And because, you know, a lot of characters, some voice actors were even cast in multiple roles, you know. You got Laura Bailey, who voices both Evangeline in this anime with a British accent, and she even voices the class rep, which is hilariously ironic that she voices the two of the most polar opposites when it comes to how they feel about Negi. Ayaka's the class rep, she totally is infatuated with Negi. Evangeline, I kind of briefly explained why she probably wouldn't like Negi. And Monica Rail voices three characters: Konaka, Asuna's roommate, Satsuki, the lunch representative, and Kazumi Asakura, the journalist. Of the three, Kazumi rubs me the wrong way because she has like this weird mild Valley Girl dialect. Okay. Now Chris Sabat voices the show's narrator, and like the rest of the animation, he's just as frantic and crazy with it. It's one of those you have to hear it to believe scenarios. And he gets even more and more insane as the series progresses. It's fun to listen to him, it really is. Also, the English dub did put some extra references, like I mentioned the Muppet song, Manamana. Either way, I watched it in English. It didn't really bug me all that much, even though when I read the manga or check out an anime in Japanese first, it takes a while for me to get used to English dubs. But I didn't mind the dub all that much, other than the stuff I previously listed. But it's nothing that really irritates me to the point where I'm like, I gotta listen to this in Japanese because says every little anti-dub elitist out there. They also dub all the opening and closing songs for this anime, as well as the Baka Ranger theme song, which I wish there was a full version of it in English, because it does sound really good. So overall, I wish I finished watching Negima sometime years ago when I had the chance. I had no reasons why I couldn't. I was in a phase where I was collecting more anime than watching anime, so yeah. But as a Negima fan, I still really like this anime, even if it did deviate from the manga in terms of both story and feel. Now, I don't know if this is something I can recommend as a gateway into checking out the rest of the Negima franchise, but I would recommend this show over the Zebek one if you had to choose between the two versions. Also, I could still recommend this if you're a fan of Shimbo's artistic direction, or if you're looking for a spiritual successor to Pony Pony Dash if you happen to like that anime. Or if you're looking for something that's just zany and action-packed, I could still recommend you checking it out. Now that's all I have to say to conclude my 5-part anime review list. I don't know what the next thing I'm going to review is, but it will have to wait because now I have to prepare for the huge Negima hyper vlog where I'll be going through my experiences with the entirety of all 38 volumes of the manga and go into detail with some of the characters, etc., stuff I couldn't mention in this anime. So I hope you guys are looking forward to that. So leave a comment if you wish. If you don't know what to comment on, I can ask you, if you're a fan of Negima, who's your favorite student of Class 3A and why? Now that's all I have for now, and with that, Darkscream217 signing out, and tell me, what did you think about my new microphone that I bought? Because this cost me a shitload of money.